when we met, um, I weighed 261 pounds, 261, and now I'm at one. My lowest last Friday was 168.
Today, I have the pleasure of sharing with you my incredible client, Dan. When Dan and I first started working together, he was about 261 pounds, and now he is in the 160s, which means he has almost lost 100 pounds through our work together in the Slim on Starch program. Dan also had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and he had tried every diet known to man, and he said the first words that came out of his mouth when I first got on the phone with him were, "I'm a skeptic and I don't think this is gonna work for me." And now Dan is here to deliver this interview. And the reason why he did this interview is because he wanted to help inspire other men who are struggling in this arena. I do work with men and I love working with male clients actually because I grew up in a household with two older brothers and with a mom who worked on the weekends. So the weekends were spent with my dad and my brothers, and I just operate very well with males. So if you have a brother, a significant other, a son, a father, a grandfather, somebody that you want to get onto this lifestyle, please send this video to them. This is really going to speak to the males in your life that you would love to see achieve health on a starch-based lifestyle. And Dan is such a great testament to that. So if you have a father, a grandfather, your husband, your son, your brother, your boyfriend, your friend, whoever it is, a male that you would love to see thrive on this lifestyle, please send them a link to this video and encourage them to work with me because I do work with male clients and I love working with male clients. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into the video. Hi honeys, it's Emmy. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Emmy. I'm a nutritionist and the creator of the Slim on Starch program, where you lose weight on a starch-based, plant-based diet with the help of me, your nutrition coach, and your mindset coach, which you all get inside of the Slim on Starch program. If you're interested in that, go to healthyemmie.org or just click the link in the down bar. Also, make sure that you hit subscribe and you turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified every time the freshest news on plant-based weight loss is coming at you live.
Okay, well, my name is Dan. Um, I am from Canada, so if I have an accent, that's my excuse. Um, I'm from Northern Ontario, so it's a small mining town, and this is where I lived my whole life. I never left my little town of Timmins, and I've worked in mining and welding and all these different trades, and now I'm a trade teacher. So that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years. When we met, um, I weighed 261 pounds, 261, and now I'm at one. My lowest last Friday was 168.
And you know, before I even got a chance to hear your terrific accent, Dan, the first time that we ever spoke on the phone, I remember the first thing that you said to me, you're like, "All right, I gotta let you know, I'm a huge skeptic. I don't think this is gonna work." That was the first thing that I ever heard you say.
Yeah.
Then when you ended up joining the program, Dan is also, he's a world traveler. And Boston is somewhere that you haven't visited. And you said, if you help me lose the weight, if this works, I'm coming to see you. So now Boston is on your list because you blew it out of the water. I still, like, even looking at you on the Zoom call right now, I still feel like I'm talking to a different person just because you have dramatically changed. And I'm excited to get more into it. So why don't we give everybody a taste of what your life looked like before the program and before we started working together? Do you want to start there?
Absolutely. So I could go back to high school if you want. Grade 12, I broke my leg, and I was into weightlifting and stuff like that. So I was always, I had enough muscle on me. But when I broke my ankle in grade 12 high school, I just started putting on the pounds. And as I started, when I started my life I got married, and I was always heavier set. And then I was always struggling with my weight and trying to find different, hacks to try to lose weight. And I've tried, when people say they've tried every diet, I've tried every diet. Um, and it evolved over the years because, the low carb thing didn't come in till I was in my 30s maybe. And I tried that, of course. It was a total flop. It did not work for me at all. And then there's so many kinds of different types of diets, and they work at first, and then it feels like my body just clues into it, to what's going on, and just, no, that's not going to happen. You're not losing this weight. So I've tried fasting. I've tried intermittent fasting, water only extended fasting. I've tried them all. I can name more, but I think you get an idea of what I've done to try to make this happen,
You
and it
sure,
just wasn't happening.
you surely got your badge of honor when it comes to dieting before we started working together. When you told me that you had done fasting, I said to you, I go, Dan, if you have done fasting, this is going to be a walk in the park. I could not wait to get my hands on you, Dan, because I was so excited. But tell me honestly, and when we were on the phone and I was like, Dan, this is going to be, I'm telling you, this is going to work. You have so much potential. Tell me your honest thoughts, what you thought at that time, because I'm sure there are other people that are thinking that won't happen to me.
Exactly. I felt this is not going to happen to me, and I've been pursuing this since grade 12. Over 30 years, I've been trying to figure this out, and it's not just on my mind once in a blue moon. It's on my mind every day. Every day since I'm 20 years old, I've been trying to figure this out. How do I stop craving chips? How do I stop being overweight? How do I stop anything? I just couldn't wrap my head around this. And I haven't touched chips. I don't know when the last time I had chips. It was before, like, it's been a while. And I can't believe, like, the weight loss is incredible, obviously, but it's also the transformation in my eating habits and my ability to say no to different foods that I used to crave. So my food craving, I think that's 90% of the battle is just changing your food cravings.
Mm.
And I could honestly, I don't have any food cravings. If I eat when I'm hungry, that's bottom line. Some
So
mornings I eat breakfast. Some mornings I'm not hungry. I didn't exercise as much the night before or whatever. So you're so in tune with your body and what you consume. It's incredible.
mm. Now, Dan, you lost nearly 100 pounds. We started working together back in February, and it's October 1st now. I remember you said to me on the phone, I couldn't blame you because I really understood your frustration. But I remember you said to me, you go, why can't I just watch your YouTube videos? Why can't I just read all the stuff that Dr. McDougall puts out and all these other people? Why do I have to pay you? You said that. And I remember it so vividly because I was like, oh, I understand this frustration. So what was different? Why couldn't you just watch all my YouTube videos or read the Starch solution or do something along those lines? What was different through our work together that really allowed you to lose nearly 100 pounds?
Well, before we met, or I think we had met the first time. We met the year before, in 2019. We started talking, and then I was really on the verge of doing this, and then I said, I'm going to go read up on Dr. McDougall. I didn't have the plate and all, builder and all these. It's the fine points that I didn't have, but I was starting to get the whole food thing. But then I'd slip back into the vegan pizza and Beyond Meat burgers and stuff like that. So I wasn't committed 100%. So the program really helped me commit 100%.
Mm.
And I'll be honest, when you pay money for something, for me anyways, I commit a little more seriously. It's not just a paperback or an audio book that I paid, $20 for. It's actual hard-earned money that's coming into play,
Mm, mm.
which is worth every penny, by the way.
Well, thank you for saying that. So, what was it? So we met, and I said, listen, go learn about Dr. McDougall, learn all of this stuff, and you did just that. What was it that made you get to the point where you said, you know what, I'm really going to invest in this program, and I'm going to really go into it, work with Emmie. I'm not going to do it on my own anymore. I'm joining.
What really pushed me over the edge, I went on vacation and I went to Cuba. And I don't know if you know much about Cuba, but the resorts over there, the food isn't always the greatest. I mean, it's fine, but it's not always the best. But I was there, and because it was an all-inclusive vacation, I was eating just to eat because it's there and I paid for it. So I found myself eating, and I just ballooned even more than normal. At that point, I was probably in the 260 zone in that at that point. So on my way home on the flight and on the drive back home, I started thinking about our earlier conversation, and then that's when I decided, okay, it's time.
Mm,
It's time because I was already convinced of the McDougall thing. Even the other Dr. Goldhammer has a program as well, or he has a really good book that I enjoy, The Pleasure Trap. So I was already in tune with all this stuff. I just needed to put the pieces together, and I knew at this point if somebody could help me, it would be you.
mm.
But I was still a skeptic, as you remember.
Well, I knew that you had this in you because you're a smart guy, and when you came into the program, like a sponge, you absorbed it very quickly. You're a terrific student. I remember you saying to me, you're like, I drove my professors crazy. I'm gonna drive you crazy with all the questions I'm gonna ask you. I go, ask them. That's what I'm here for. And you absorbed the information very quickly. And I think that a lot of people watching this video, they understand calorie density, they understand not having the oil in there. I think a really big shift for you, Dan, was the mindset shifts that you had around food, and the way that you look at food in terms of primary foods. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? What mindset shifts you had around food?
Well, the primary food thing, I never heard of that concept. I think it's fantastic, and it just changed the whole game for me because food was my primary food. And now I'm into cycling. I was always into biking. I had an electric bike. I have all kinds of bikes, but I got into cycling, which is I think a step higher than just regular biking. And I put on about almost 2,000 miles biking this summer. So that is my primary food. So that concept just blows my mind because, like I said, food is just it was just yummy, and I enjoy it. But now I put my attention in other things like walking. I do a lot of walking as well. I
Mm.
walk to work, so I enjoy that. I'll put on my earphones and I'll listen to a podcast, and I'll lose myself in a long walk. So those are primary foods to me now.
Now, you said that food was your primary food. And for people watching that aren't familiar with primary food is the things that nourish your soul. It's not the food that's on your plate. It's what nourishes your soul. And you said that food was a big part of your life, and you've traveled all over the world. All over the world.
Yeah.
You've probably had more cuisine than I could ever imagine. So your palate was used to these exotic foods and cool foods and just such intense dopamine releasing foods. How
Mhm.
did you go from that and just loving food so much and being a foodie to eating slim on starch and eating foods that are more natural in their whole form, potatoes without the oil all over them? How did that go? And do you, be honest, do you enjoy what you're eating like you enjoyed the old stuff?
I enjoy what I'm eating now just as much. So I think when someone says they're a foodie, it just means they love food. And for me, I love food. Doesn't matter what it is, I love food. I just had to adjust to the new foods. So whether I'm eating a nice, expensive steak somewhere, or some sushi in Japan or something like that, versus my soups that I make out of just vegetables here, I'm just as happy now. It's hard to explain, and I know for the viewers it might be hard to believe, but it's true. My taste buds, I'm just as excited when I come home to eat whatever I have ready in the fridge, just as much as the fancy sushi I had in Japan, in Tokyo. So I'm not sure how to explain how it happened, but it just happened. And it might have happened over time. It might have happened, like at first, obviously at first it wasn't easy. And I did fall off the wagon a few times. And one of the coaches, Kiki, mentioned to me that if you fall off the wagon, the harder it's going to be. And I always remember that. And I said, man, that's good advice. And I said, you know what, I'm going to make this easy for myself. I'm not going to fall off the wagon anymore. And I stopped falling off the wagon. And I honestly haven't since. That was near the beginning of the program that I had a pizza. I ordered a pizza and I ate just about the whole thing. And then I talked to Kiki the next day, and then she told me that, and that's all it took, really. So the big picture in all this is the more you stick to the program, the easier it gets. To a point now, I'm trying to figure out my future travels. What am I going to do? Because I'm not going for the food anymore. So I'm looking for trips where I'm going to be biking instead. So maybe go somewhere in Europe and cross France on a pedal bike or something like that, or Czech Republic or stuff like that. So but it's not around food, it's around my primary food.
Now you're
I know I said a lot.
Yeah, it was pure gold. You're a teacher,
Okay.
and you said, when I come home, I make my foods and I make my healthy food. Do you ever come home from a stressful day? Being a teacher, it's hard work. You come home from a stressful day. Do you ever have those cravings for those foods that you used to have? And what do you do in those situations?
I very seldomly do. I've developed different recipes, and they're just fantastic. And I it doesn't happen, honestly. I sometimes think of how great it feels to have a high calorie dense food, like taking a bite of a hamburger or pizza or something that's got a lot of calories per bite. I sometimes think about that, and then but it passes. It's not really like, I'm not feeling like, oh, if this keeps up, I'm going to go have one. It never gets that far. It doesn't go that far. But I do, or if I see someone eating something that's calorie dense, and I think, oh man, that's probably giving him a shot in his brain, and he doesn't realize it. But I know if I had that, it would be awesome. But I just, it would be awesome for my brain, but I'm not seeking that at all.
Did you used to?
Pardon me?
Did you used to seek that?
I think earlier in the program, I had weaker moments, but I managed to get through it with just those words Kiki said to me. Just the more often it happens, the harder this is going to get. And in my mind, the harder it's going to get meant another failure. I'm always on guard now because I failed in all these other diets in the past. I'm still on guard today. Like I'm sitting nicely here at 170-ish. I don't want to lose that, and that's why I'm trying to push to 160 so that I have that cushion. So if I do want to maybe on my birthday or something special, I'll go have some full out sushi, all you can eat type thing, and get that dopamine hit. But I don't even want to. I don't even want to, because I don't want to fall off the wagon. I don't want to like it so much that I'm willing to give up everything I've achieved to get that feeling back. Food's addictive. But my new food, my new recipes, and the way I eat is just as addictive. I come home just as excited for my quinoa chickpea concoction that I invented. It tastes very, very nice. I mix it up with my soup, and I love the fact that I could, and I go on a scale the next day, and it's usually the same or a little less. So that's the best part of it all. You could eat all you want.
Mm.
And I thought that was so cliche when people said that. I hate it when people said that. You could eat all. That's baloney. You can't. That's impossible. But it's no. This is possible.
I'm going to cut it there because Dan and I ended up talking for about 40 minutes. So there is going to be part 2 to this interview, which is going to be linked below, or make sure that you're subscribed so that you can see part 2. Woo!